Okay, in this video we're going to talk about the Pathfinder tools. If you don't have your Pathfinder open, okay, it should be here. You've got options for it. If you do not have Pathfinder open, under Window, down to Pathfinder, or Shift Command F9 will pull it up. So I've got my Pathfinder open here. So we're going to take a look at each one of the items and what they do. So basically, the first one that we're going to talk about is Unite. If we roll over, it says Unite, option click to create a compound shape in the Add to Shape area. Okay, so you can create compound shapes with this. But let's keep it simple for this tutorial. We're going to click here, and this is kind of what we're going to end up with when we do an outline at the end. So we're going to click Unite, and it basically just unites all the objects into one. So now it's one object with pointy areas. It looks like, I don't know, a blowfish that's gone crazy or an undersea mine. So I was able to take this and it merges it, and it uses the top color for the final shape. But of course, we can always click on it if we don't like that color and change it to something else. All right, next up we have minus front. Okay, minus front is kind of like cookie cutter. If we take a look at it, it will take whatever's in the front and subtract it. This works well on two shapes, on multiple shapes. It can get kind of confusing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but let's just click on minus front. And notice now there's nothing here. I can click on this area all I want. All I have is this area here, and again, of course, I can easily change the color, should I want to. Okay, intersect. So intersect basically takes the shapes, and wherever they intersect, they cut off. So look. If you look here, you can see what it does. So let's hit intersect. So it took the shape in the background and it just deleted it, and it deleted everything around it. So all we have left is this star with the cutoff ends. Okay, so it just took the circle, and anything outside of that circle, it just chopped off. Okay, so exclude's kind of the opposite of intersect. So let's click on this and we'll hit exclude. And it's the opposite. See where here it cuts off the area, here it cuts away anything that's not, or that's overlapped. So we have the star that's overlapping the gray circle, it just cuts it out, and it uses the top color. Again, I can click on this if I want my gray back and choose my gray. Next up we have divide. Okay, so divide, these get a little more complex as we go down through here. Divide has some very interesting ways of doing things. This one's used a lot. It basically cuts everything into separate pieces. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to hit my divide. And if you notice, it didn't look like anything happened. Well, I'm going to ungroup, and I'm going to click on areas. So look, anywhere that's not overlapping, it's kind of giving me different areas. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to turn it to a darker gray. I'm going to turn this one to a darker gray. So basically it created all these neat little shapes that I can play with and change based on where they're at. So it gives me a bunch of individual shapes that I can mess with. It even pulled the tips off. So if we look, I can select all the tips here and change their color. So we can do a lot with that. All right, up next we have trim. It basically removes the parts of the object that are overlapping or hidden. So if I click on it and I go and hit my trim, again it looks like nothing's happened, but let's go ahead and ungroup it. And if we click on this and pull the star up, oh look, bottom's empty. So it basically emptied it out. It's very similar to this, but we've got solid colors that work together. So if the solid colors are touching, it keeps them. Whereas here, if we look up here, it pulls anything that's overlapping out. So this one's the one I use more often than any of them. Like I said, it does a lot like the divide, and I can change individual colors, but it keeps solid colors together, which is, always good. All right, so let's click on this one. Next up, we have merge. So let's take a look at merge. merge, it merges overlapping objects filled with the same color, so it looks like trim, but it's not quite. So we're going to click on merge. Now we're going to ungroup it, see what it's done. And look, it's kept my solid colors together. If they're touching, which they are, it's kept them together. Unlike here, where it didn't keep the outer edges, but here it did. Okay, so that's the primary difference. Solid colors stick together. All right, next up we have crop. Basically, what's on top gets cropped away. So I'm going to hit crop, and now it basically gave me whatever was underneath. Let's look at the original here. So it took the maroon star, and anything underneath it, it just cropped it out. So if we look at it, it's actually, here, let's ungroup this one so you can see kind of, let's say that we got rid of this star. Okay, see, so basically it just used that star as a template. Doesn't matter what the color is, this color of this star will not bleed through. Okay, so outline. If you look at it, it doesn't look like it does anything much. So we click outline and it creates outlines. But what's neat about this, let's go ahead and ungroup. So now I got line segments to play with, and it's just the lines. There's nothing else. There's no fills, no nothing. So I could create some really cool minimalistic effects by messing with different stroke patterns. And like I could grab this and grab this, make them the same size, picking them up. And this and this, I could do a gentler stroke on it. And then this, I could do maybe a couple. So see, we could get some nice, really cool effects by just varying the thickness of the lines and just playing with it. So you never know what you're going to get. This basically converts your shapes into lines that you can use. All right, the last one, minus back. Basically, anything overlapping in the back goes away, so it's like minus front, but it's the exact opposite of minus front. It minuses the back. So if we click, anything, because we've got that square in the background, anything that falls within that square gets cut away, and now all we have is the tips of the star. And that's it for the Pathfinder. Very powerful tool. Use it wisely.